free on 7.
This morning, the big manhunt for a member of a notorious crime family wanted over his partner's murder. National Cabinet meets to discuss easing the lockdown. Australia prepares for the road out of the pandemic. And the Duchess of Cambridge gives a rare insight into how her family is coping as she launches a coronavirus photography project.
This is 7 News with Angela Cox.
Good morning. Police have seized a Mercedes-Benz owned by murdered Melbourne mother Ellie Price. It was found at Diggers Rest in Melbourne's northeast. Live to Jodie Lee. Jodie, there's been no sign of Ellie's partner Ricardo Barbaro, who police want to question.
Morning, that's right. Still no sign of Ricardo Barbaro, but as you mentioned, police have found Ellie Price's white Mercedes with those distinctive pink number plates. The car was found at this rural property at Diggers Rest after a garbage collector remembered seeing the car here last Thursday and notified police. Detectives swooped overnight, and when they did, the vehicle was still here. Now, it's since been towed for forensic testing as detectives continue to hunt for Ricardo Barbaro. The 33-year-old was in a relationship with Ellie Price and hasn't been seen since her body was found at her South Melbourne home on Monday. He is, of course, a member of the notorious crime family, the Barbaros. Here's what detectives had to say.
There is a family violence history in that relationship. Homicide Squad have been talking with the other state and territory forces. He's someone who does have a history of contacts up the east coast of Australia.
Detectives have spoken with the Barbaro family and warned them that they too could be charged if they are harbouring Barbaro or know where he is. He's believed to be driving a white Toyota Hiace and could by now be interstate. If anyone does spot Barbaro, they're urged not to approach him but instead to contact police.
OK, thank you, Jodie. A meeting of the National Cabinet is underway right now with leaders deciding how they will ease restrictions. Political reporter Taylor Aiken is in Canberra for us. Taylor, what can we expect?
Well, Ange, we can expect 3 stages of easing restrictions with at least 4 weeks in between each stage for leaders to assess the rates of new infections and determine if proceeding to the next stage is safe. The National Cabinet will today work out that baseline framework that leaders will work from, beginning with small social gatherings, community sport and a retail reopening. The stages will be enforced at least 4 weeks apart. The first this month, the second in June and the third in mid-July, attempting to reopen Australia in a COVID-safe way. And while a rise in cases is expected once movement in the community increases, Deputy Chief Medical Officer Paul Kelly says Australia is in a much better position now to respond to new infections.
It's a balance now. We do expect we will see more cases, and we are much better prepared now than we were 4 or 6 weeks ago in relation to finding those cases.
But when the restrictions will be eased, well, that depends on where you live, with the premiers and chief ministers ultimately deciding when to implement the changes based on rates of infections within their communities. West Australian Premier Mark McGowan has flagged lifting restrictions earlier than the other states, however, adding that the hard state border will be the last to be eased. Ange.
OK, thank you, Taylor. New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian says there will be no easing of restrictions in her state this weekend, despite what National Cabinet decides. Chris Reason is in Sydney. Chris, New South Wales recorded another 4 cases in the past 24 hours.
Yeah, that's right. Good morning to you. And from another 9,400 tests in the last 24 hours, the Premier calling that an amazing result. One of those positives, though, coming from the deeply troubled Newmarch aged care facility out at Caddens near Penrith, as it becomes day one for new management there after the Aged Care Commission appointed and demanded a new advisor to take over control there. Andrew Kincaid from Catholic Healthcare has taken over the Anglican facility, and they were given until 5 o'clock to make that appointment. They made it at 4:45, just 15 minutes before deadline yesterday. That, as Newmarch has now introduced new testing regimes. They've moved from testing staff daily to testing staff every second day. Let's have a listen to the Chief Health Officer, Kerry Chant's explanation for that change.
the staff members were reporting some pain and concern, bleeding noses from the repeated swabbing, and so it was assessed by the infectious disease specialist that reducing the interval now to second daily or alternate shifts was most appropriate.
Well, also today, and it might seem surprising to some, but there are still some Australians overseas trickling back into the country. This morning we saw this Qantas flight arriving in from Delhi, India. As the state government announced, there are still 3,500 people holed up in quarantine hotels serving out their time. 13,000 in total have gone through that program, with the Premier saying she doesn't know what the cost has been for that, but she says it's worth it to keep the state safe. Angela.
OK, thanks, Rezo. Victoria's Police Minister has pleaded for people not to take part in 2 planned protests in Melbourne this weekend, with fears the demonstrations could spread coronavirus. 13 new cases have been recorded in the state in the past 24 hours, including 8 at the Cedar Meads Abattoir and 5 community transmissions. More than 20,000 tests have been carried out in the past day. Border Force has urged Australians not to import and self-prescribe hydroxychloroquine because of fears surrounding COVID-19. More than 6,000 tablets have been intercepted and seized coming into the country by Border Force since January. Increased screening has also been put into place to stop the anti-malarial drug at the border during the pandemic. The Duchess of Cambridge has given a rare television interview opening up about life in isolation. Kate was promoting a new national photographic project to document life during the pandemic.
A rare interview with a royal.
We are delighted to be joined by Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Cambridge.
A candid Kate on morning television in the UK, opening up about life in lockdown.
It is difficult. It's hard to explain to, a 5 and a 6, nearly 7-year-old what's going on.
The Duchess promoting a photography project with the National Portrait Gallery called Hold Still, a snapshot of the UK during the coronavirus pandemic.
Being able to showcase portraits, I suppose, and to try and collate a portrait of the nation at this difficult time, I think is what really, I suppose, inspired me, is to try and connect everybody on a human level and share our experiences.
The avid amateur photographer is inviting people to capture a portrait, already selecting some extraordinary moments. British hero Colonel Tom, who's raised millions for the health service by walking laps of his garden, and an intensive care nurse covered in red scars from wearing PPE.
It's really harrowing image, actually, and it's some of the images that, is so important to really document at this time, because they're the things that not everybody at home is going to witness.
The mother of 3 also revealing the story behind her own birthday portraits of Prince Louis.
I should have taken a photograph of what I look like after that as well. I look like Louis at the end of it.
In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
Next in 7 News, a coronavirus scare in the White House. A member of the president's staff tests positive. And as restrictions lift in Italy, how the pandemic has transformed the streets of Rome.
It's gonna knock you off your feet.
Tiger King shocked the world, but you only heard half the story.
Pair of snitches.
The key players uncensored.
Wish I could have done more, Tim.
Shocking footage exposed. Our burning questions answered.
He was killed.
The exclusive Tiger King. What really went down?
Shh.
Tuesday, 7:30, only on 7.
The Stone Age is back. Natural stone is more popular than ever, and Adelaide's best range is at Stonecraft. Stonecraft has supplied Adelaide for over 40 years, still the market leader and locally family owned. Add the timeless look of natural stone to your next project from Stonecraft. Sandstone, limestone, slate, granite and stunning travertine. Expertly crafted stone for pools, alfresco, fireplaces, steps and veranda edging. Custom cutting, shaping and bullnosing. Stonecraft does the lot. Need advice? We're happy to help with our expert know-how.
The Stone Age is back.
But then it's never gone out of style. Discover new inspiration for modern living at Stonecraft Imports. Now open 5 days, Manchester Street, Mile End South. Your all-natural specialist.
HCF, Australia's largest not-for-profit health fund, has put the care of our members first for nearly 90 years. That's why we'll pay premiums for eligible members for up to 6 months if you're made redundant or stood down. HCF, that's uncommon care.
Beat the cold at Harvey Norman with the best in heating and air treatment solutions. Stay warm this winter with our range of ceramic, radiant and fan heaters, convection, column and panel heaters, the latest in gas and electric flame effect models, heated throws and electric blankets, plus a huge range of reverse cycle air conditioners. Treat the air quality in your home with everything from air purifiers to humidifiers. Harvey Norman has all the big brands at great prices. Visit us in store or online. Harvey Norman, your heating and air treatment specialist.
Go! It's only natural to want what's best for your toddler. 100% grass-fed milk is better by nature. We know that nature provides the best, which is why 100% grass-fed milk is free from palm oil, GMO and growth hormones. 100% grass-fed milk encourages growth and development, whilst gentle on toddler's tummy and easy to digest. So you have the peace of mind knowing you've made the natural choice. 100% grass-fed milk, made in New Zealand, better by nature.
This is a message from every quitter
to every smoker.
Because I love my family.
I love my grandchildren.
Because I love you.
This is why I want to stop smoking.
It's not going to be easy. And look, it's nothing personal.
But there's one thing that I gotta ask.
Please don't smoke around me while I'm quitting.
Because it makes it so much harder.
If you can't quit with me,
And if you love me too.
don't smoke around me.
Please.
To help someone you know quit, visit besmokefree.com.au.
Hundreds of South Australian police have formed a guard of honour in Adelaide to honour one of their own, killed in a horror high-speed crash. The casket of Chief Superintendent Joanne Shanahan was driven to her funeral service with friends, family and colleagues lining the streets to pay their respects. The 55-year-old mother of two was one of two people killed in the crash on Anzac Day. A 20-year-old man has been charged. A former accounts officer at one of Sydney's most exclusive schools has been charged with defrauding it of almost $7.5 million. Augustine Robert Nosti has had his assets frozen as police continue their investigation. The 57-year-old had worked at the Maria War Memorial College in Sydney's eastern suburbs for more than 12 years. He's been bailed to appear in court in July. One of Donald Trump's personal valets has tested positive for coronavirus. The US President and Vice President Mike Pence were immediately tested and are in the clear. US correspondent Paul Kadak has more.
Good morning, Angela. Scare for Donald Trump with the first confirmed case of coronavirus from someone who works inside the West Wing of the White House. It was a US Navy member who serves as a personal valet to the president. He turned up for work yesterday showing symptoms. A test confirmed he had COVID-19. Donald Trump and Vice President Mike Pence were themselves tested soon after and both found to still be negative. But it certainly has caused some alarm within the White House. Donald Trump said to have been upset at hearing about the diagnosis. Now, valets bring food and drinks to the president, carry out other personal tasks. They're in close contact with him, the vice president, the first family, and they're in and out of the Oval Office and the residence fairly regularly. And as we now know, you can be contagious with COVID before you show symptoms.
But I've had very little personal contact with this gentleman. Know who he is, good person, but I've had very little contact. Mike has had very little contact with him. But Mike was tested and I was tested. We were both tested.
Did it spook you?
Yeah, it's a little bit strange, but it's one of those things. But I've always said testing is somewhat overrated because what happens after somebody takes a test? What's going on there?
Now, instead of every week, White House staff will, like the president, be tested every day. And the bad news for the president and the whole country continues on the economic front with another 3 million people filing for unemployment last week, which means 33.5 million Americans have now been left jobless by this pandemic. Angela from New York, back to you.
4.5 million Italians have returned to the streets after the Italian government relaxed its coronavirus lockdown. Major tourist landmarks are still empty, with fears tourists won't return until 2021. Sarah Greenhalgh is in Rome.
As of this week, Italy is in phase 2 with restrictions slowly being eased, but the streets of Rome both look and feel very different to how they used to be. Alice Adams is an Australian who has been living and working here for the past 15 years. She is a cook, a food stylist and runs Italian cooking classes for international tourists. She says there is no doubt the lockdown here has been incredibly tough in a country where the virus has hit so hard, but initially at the start of the pandemic, she was thinking about her loved ones back home.
When the curve just sort of went, I felt a lot of relief because my sister's a nurse and she drives an ambulance. And so the idea of her being caught up in the front line was really actually worrying me. That was giving me actually probably more anxiety than anything going on here.
4.5 million Italians returned to work this week, but there's still very few people out and about. There are so many shops that remain closed and there's certainly no tourists. 95% of the country's hotels are still closed. The industry is liaising with health authorities about how to make them safe for both staff and guests.
We are going to have a very safe hotels. We are losing 95% of the income. That's the reason that we want to start again, we want to open again as soon as possible.
Tourism bosses are very hopeful, quite optimistic that domestic travellers could return to tourist hotspots this European summer, but it is going to be a long time before international visitors, including Australians, can return.
Stargazers around the world have witnessed the final supermoon of 2020. Here it is, seen from the Greek island of Santorini and in Istanbul, where the Middle East meets Europe. A supermoon is when a full moon is closest to Earth. This one was a flower supermoon, named because flowers wilt in autumn. Time to check the financial markets. The ASX is trading up 54 points. The Australian dollar is buying 65 US cents, 69 Japanese yen and $1.07 New Zealand. Next in 7 News Sport with Jim Wilson, including the debate raging on in the NRL over anti-vaccination protocols. And we're live with the latest on the Adelaide Crows breach in the AFL.
Get the facts you need to know.
Breaking news now. Adelaide Crows players face hefty fines.
Turbulent few days for the Adelaide Crows.
Turn to 7 News.
Butter, bechamel and bacon. The greenest thing to hit the pan tonight is natural gas. Instant heat and that sense of control. It's the secret ingredient of any master pasta chef. Love cooking. Love natural gas.
Hyundai's end of financial year sale is on. Get great value across our eye-catching range. Like the Hyundai i30 hatch with the confidence of a 7-year warranty. And end of financial year bonuses on selected SUVs, including the Hyundai Tucson. And 7-seat petrol V6 Hyundai Santa Fe. Hyundai's end of financial year sale. See it to believe it.
The game that makes the most millionaires is giving you 20 million more reasons to get super excited this Saturday. Cross Lotto's $20 million Super Draw Saturday. Play now in-store at thelot.com or the Lot app. Gamble responsibly.
Australia. There's no country like it. That's why all Mobil Synergy fuels were formulated to protect your engine from the first fill. Like a shield against rust corrosion and harmful deposits. Mobil Synergy fuels. Engine protection. Sorted.
At Image Robes, you can get built-in robes designed, made and installed on a budget to suit you. Image Robes are the manufacturers, so there's no middleman. Choose from a range of door finishes, including mirrored, with over 40 colours to choose from. Full 10-year warranty. New full-face drawer system with steel sides, 16mm base and silver anodised handles, plus soft closing options, all on a budget to suit you. Call or visit Image Robes for an in-home measure and quote today.
Unlike most modems, Telstra's smart modem is cleverly backed up by Australia's best 4G network. So if the connection to your house stops, your home Wi-Fi won't, giving you Australia's most reliable home Wi-Fi. To experience better Wi-Fi, visit telstra.com today.
Save up to 15% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz comprehensive car insurance policy online.
Hey, good to go.
Thanks.
Cox.
Get that Leon's feeling. Search for a quote today.
Good morning, everyone. The Adelaide Crows face heavy sanctions from the AFL for breaching quarantine protocols at a training camp in South Australia. Let's go live to reporter Theo Doropoulos, who's in the Barossa Valley this morning. Good morning to you, Theo. The Crows are in hot water.
Good morning, Jim. They certainly are, with the AFL breaching protocols regarding training. They have placed 16 of their returning interstate players up here in the Barossa Valley to isolate for 2 weeks before they can return to training. Now, the breach occurred yesterday. It was around a training drill. They have permission from SAPOL to train in pairs. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. It was around a kicking drill where a group of 8 players came together and were a little closer than allowed. Matthew Nix, the coach, has put his hand up, admitting full responsibility given he's head of the program. Club CEO Andrew Fagan also the first to point out that the club has done the wrong thing. Here's how they explained the breach earlier this morning.
Yeah, I think it's an honest mistake, but it's a serious one, and we understand where the industry's at the moment in these discussions, and everyone's pretty frustrated.
We got it wrong. There was no intention for them to be training as a group. Unfortunately, the fact that they were too close meant it looked like a training session.
So the AFL certainly going to have something to say about this as the game navigates its way out of COVID-19 restrictions with an eye to getting back on the field. SAPOL as well are examining whether there's a fine to be issued to the club. It's going to be a turbulent couple of days. They've admitted they've done the wrong thing. Jim, back to you.
Thank you, Theo, and more from Theo in 7 News at 4 and 6 o'clock. Well, despite pressure from the Prime Minister and the Home Affairs Minister this morning to adopt a no jab, no play policy, the NRL has left the door open for the 16 players who are refusing to have a flu vaccination. Those players will have to sign a revised vaccination waiver release, allowing them to continue to train and play. But the NRL's plan hasn't been signed off on just yet.
The key is that everybody has to comply with the health rules. So whatever plan any organisation has signed up to, they've got to stick to the letter of the law.
Titans coach Justin Holbrook says he'll support the government's decision, despite running the risk of losing forward Bryce Cartwright, who won't have the flu injection.
I'm okay with whatever ends up, if it gets changed in any area, whether it be through the vaccination or whether through when we can go to contact training or not. It's the experts are making the right decisions, and we just got to be compliant.
The NRL says 97% of its players have had the flu vaccination. One of India's most senior cricket officials has confirmed this morning the willingness of Virat Kohli and his men to fly to Australia and go into quarantine for a test and one-day series against Australia at the end of the year. Batsman Joe Burns says a summer showdown against India will be the toughest challenge of his career.
Both teams are going to have a lot to play for with the #1 ranking and the position on the World Test Championships. And that's what's motivating us.
Burns and Marnus Labuschagne are among 6 new faces to earn national contracts last week. Western Australia's elite swimmers have returned to the pool to continue training for next year's Olympics and Paralympics in Tokyo. While training looks a little different post-COVID, Brianna Throssell is thrilled to be reunited with her teammates.
It's been the highlight of the year so far, is getting up this morning and following that black line.
After witnessing Russian swim star Julia Evamova's stunning physical display, 7 News threw the challenge to Brianna. The WA champion made it look so easy, but has warned, don't try this at home. Brianna, I won't try it, trust me. Some good news for racing fans. Sydney is now part of 7's Saturday horse racing coverage for the next 6 weeks. Champion trainer Chris Waller has a host of winning hopes at the Randwick meeting and will also chase more Group 1 glory in Adelaide.
We're going to be talking to the key people, key jockeys and trainers and participants in all the big ones.
The big races from Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide and Brisbane are part of our Saturday coverage with Bruce and the team. Looking forward to that. Now, we've got some breaking news out of the Gold Coast Titans. Bryce Cartwright, Ange, has signed that waiver form as far as the anti-flu vaccination protocols. So there's some news out of the NRL this morning.
Some big news. OK, Thanks, Jim. Next in 7's Morning News, the national weather forecast with David Brown.
The most unique Mother's Day we've ever experienced needs a fresh new way to celebrate. From a new type of rose for Mum, the meals that'll make her mouth water, to new mums with the cutest fur babies you'll ever meet. The best Mother's Day ideas are on New Better Homes, tonight on 7.
Do yourself a favour and ditch the majors.
Another real review from a happy Aussie broadband customer. With thousands of 5-star reviews, an award-winning NBN network and all Australian support, it's time to tell your telco where to go. Aussie Broadband. Can't beat feedback.
If your car got hit by hail, that could be 100% disastrous. So it's reassuring to know QBE Insurance is 100% committed to helping you. Call 133 QBE today.
Light up their afternoons with the awesomeness of puffed rice. Try bite-size LCM's poppers.
With Light and Easy, you can enjoy delicious, healthy meals with the safety of their contactless delivery service. In fact, Light and Easy has recently been rated Australia's #1 healthy meal delivery service for customer satisfaction. Order today.
Introducing Voltaren Osteo Gel 12-hourly. With just 2 applications a day, it gives you joint pain relief for the whole day and all night. Next time, why not try Voltaren Osteo Gel 12-hourly?
Call Stratco now about our non-contact design and quoting solutions. Get 72 months interest-free on patios, sheds and outdoor blinds and pay absolutely nothing for the first 12 months. T's and C's apply. So, you bring the dream, Stratco will bring the how-to.
Our streets are not empty. They're full of determination to stop the spread of COVID-19. To keep us connected and informed, the state government has created a reliable source of information at sa.gov.au, keeping SA safe and strong.
Thank you. Hey, did you ever get your life insurance sorted? Not yet. Well, we did one simple thing to protect our family's financial future and got real life insurance.
Okay, send me their details and I'll give them a call.
Protecting your family is easy with our value for money products that you can tailor to suit your budget. With real life insurance, your family would receive up to $1 million if you passed away. Call 137 026 or search Real Life Insurance.
Easy on yourself.
Get warm and cosy with the Allington's new season winter range, showcasing the best in country clothing and western wear. Rug up in this season's latest styles from your favourite brands. Allington's, it's not just a look, it's a lifestyle. Shop in-store and online.
This weather report brought to you by Bridgestone Select for tyres and car servicing.
A black bear at a US zoo has shown the social media world how to make the most of life in lockdown. Oregon Zoo shared this video of 10-year-old Takoa enjoying a cold bath during a warm spring day. Looks like he's enjoying it. Let's get a check of the weather forecast now with 7 News meteorologist David Brown. How's it looking, Brownie?
Yeah, good morning, Ange. It's a beautiful day around the country, but look, having said that, a cold surge is now lining up the southern states. Snow is on the way. In fact, it starts tomorrow. We're expecting falls across the Tasmanian high country, and as we fly north, we've got snow also unfolding along the spine of the Great Dividing Range above 1,200 metres, all the way through to the snowy mountains in New South Wales. Now, the southern states are in for a cold weekend as well. Have a look at the forecast temperatures as we fly through time. Middle of next week, there's another cold surge. In fact, it'll be colder than the one we're expecting this weekend. Can you believe it? Winter is coming. Let's go to the weather wall now. In fact, in Brisbane today, fine, partly cloudy and warmish, around 26 degrees, almost there. In Sydney, it's stunning at the moment, heading for a warm top of 27 degrees. That's 7 above average. Melbourne, it's also sunny, but, well, becoming a little bit breezy. Forecast top around 20. And in Adelaide, it's, well, clouds building, showers on the way and a cool high of around 19 degrees. This is the cold front we're expecting to unleash that alpine snow tomorrow. As it moves through over the next 24 hours, it also brings some rain and lots of it to large parts of Victoria and Tasmania. And of course, the air ahead of it is very, very warm indeed. That's why we're expecting a top of 26 degrees in Sydney. Melbourne, though, cold and showering, only 15. Perth should be fine around 20. That's the latest weather. More details coming your way, 4 o'clock each.
OK, thanks, Brownie. And that is 7 News to now. We'll keep you up to date throughout the day. I'm Angela Cox. Thanks so much for your company. Have a great day.